Welcome to Dream Doodles, USA, where imagination meets ancient wisdom. We believe that the most powerful life lessons are best learned through stories. Today, we travel to the dusty valley of Arcadia to uncover a secret that has built empires and fortunes for centuries. If you have ever felt like you are working endlessly but getting nowhere, this story is for you. In the Valley of Arcadia, where the sun baked the earth into a hard, cracked mosaic, lived two young men named Cale and Jaron. They were not brothers by blood, but they were brothers by circumstance. Cale was a stonecutter, spending his days swinging a heavy iron chisel until his lungs were coated in grey dust. Jaron was a weaver, sitting at his loom for 12 hours a day, his fingers stained with dye. Despite their hard labor building the city's temples and weaving its finest tapestries, they were both shackled by the invisible chains of poverty. One evening, as the orange glow of twilight settled over the riverbank, Jaron threw a pebble into the water in frustration. "It makes no sense, Cale," he said. "We work harder than the merchants getting fat in the square. Yet we have nothing to show for it but calloused hands and empty pockets. Why do the gods favor those who do the least?" Cale wiped the granite dust from his forehead and nodded. He had asked himself the same question 1,000 times. But he remembered a man named Bunsira, former chariot scribe, who was once as poor as them. Now, Bunsir lived on the Hill of Cedars in a palace of gold. "We do not need to ask the gods," Cale said. "We need to ask Bunsir." The two friends journeyed up the hill, leaving the dusty lower city behind. When they arrived at Bunsir's estate, they were welcomed not with arrogance, but with a feast. After they had eaten, Cale finally asked the question that burned in his heart. "Bunsir, we work from dawn to dusk. You used to be poor like us. Did you find a buried treasure? Did a god bless you?" Bunsir smiled gently. "No, God blessed me, and I found no treasure. The gold I have, I grew. You see, you are poor because you pay everyone else, but you never pay yourselves. You pay the baker, the landlord, and the sandal maker. You are merely a conduit for money to flow through. Nothing stays." Bunsir then shared the secret he had learned from an old moneylender. The law of the 10th. "For every 10 coins you earn," he whispered, "you must keep one." It sounds simple, but it is harder to lift than the heaviest stone. If you earn 10 coppers, you must hide one in a jar and live on 9. He explained that a coin saved is not just metal, it is a seed. Every coin you save is a worker that labors for you. It does not eat. It does not sleep. You must invest your savings to make them multiply like an army of golden slaves working day and night. Cale and Jaron left, with their heads spinning. The next morning, the real test began. When Cale received his 20 copper coins, he desperately wanted to buy a roasted duck and new sandals. But he remembered Bunsir's words. Gritting his teeth, he took 2 coins and dropped them into a clay jar hidden in his wall. He ate plain lentils that night. For months, it was miserable. They felt poorer than before, watching their friends laugh and gamble in the taverns while they sat at home. But slowly, the jars began to fill. And with the weight of the silver came a new feeling, confidence. When the foreman yelled at Cale, he stood tall, knowing he had months of wages saved. He was no longer a slave to his immediate needs. 2 years later, a great storm flooded the city. While others panicked, Cale and Jaron were ready. Jaron used his savings to buy high-quality wool from desperate merchants at a low price. Cale used his gold to hire a team and build a wall for a wealthy merchant, becoming an architect instead of a laborer. They didn't just survive the storm, they used it to build their fortune. 10 years later, Cale and Jaron met again on the hill. They were no longer the dusty laborers by the river. They were masters of their craft and captains of their own destiny. They realized that wealth was not a river that flows to the lucky, but a wall built brick by brick. The first brick is heavy and requires sacrifice, but it builds a shelter that lasts a lifetime. The noise of the valley never stops, but for those who build their own walls, there is always peace inside. Thank you for watching Dream Doodles USA. If this story inspired you to start your own jar of gold, like this video and subscribe for more tales of wisdom and strength. Until next time, keep dreaming.